Cheryl Reeve didn't hold back as she went off on the WNBA officiating team for costing her squad a championship. The WNBA Finals just wrapped up and it was one for the ages. However, the epic battle between the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx was tainted by what went down in Game 5. In fact, the officials were so horrible that the Lynx head coach went off in the post-game press conference. And she was not the only one. Ever since the game ended, there has been an outcry against the officials, and many, including several NBA superstars, believe that the Lynx were cheated out of a championship. Now that is some serious accusations, but they are not unfounded either. And by the end of this video, you will see why Cheryl Reeve didn't hold anything back against the WNBA officiating team. The 2024 WNBA Finals was one of the most memorable series in league history. You had epic performances, comebacks, and game winners, and much more. Simply put, it had everything a basketball fan could ask for. But then Game 5 happened, and it was all ruined. Instead of talking about the New York Liberty's first ever championship, or superstar Sabrina Ionescu claiming her first ever ring, all anyone can speak about is the horrible officiating job which cheated the Lynx out of another championship. The performance of the referees didn't rise to the standard of the players, and they compromised the league's product as a result. Afterward, Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve let the officiating team have it.
I thought today was incredibly disappointing. The challenge, we have got to change our challenge rules, and the officials doing the game should have a third party, because that was not a foul. That call should have been reversed on that challenge.
What Coach Reeve is referring to is what went down at the end of the game. Near the end of regulation, Alana Smith was whistled for a foul on Breanna Stewart, with 5.2 seconds remaining on what appeared to be marginal contact. The decision held up after a challenge, though Stewart clearly traveled before the foul, and Reeve guaranteed that it would not have stood a replay center outside of the building been tasked with reviewing the call. Just watch for yourself and see what happens.
Championship in the balance. Phoebus gets it in to Stewart. Stewart catches, leads, can't hit, but a foul. And Breanna Stewart, who just missed 2 free throws, goes right back to the line.
No wonder the entire Minnesota team was angry. It's clear as day that Stewart not only traveled, but the contact wasn't enough to be called a foul either. In overtime, the Liberty didn't waste any time. Leonie Phoebus came out in overtime and immediately hit a three-pointer. New York was just 1 of 19 from behind the arc up until that point. Nyara Sabali, after a steal on the other end, then sank a breakaway layup to put the Liberty up by 5 points. That marked their largest lead of the game. To make matters worse, there were also multiple instances of Lynx star Collier getting hit around the rim or wrapped up before receiving an entry pass that went uncalled. Halfway through overtime, Phoebus had her arm locked around Collier, leaving Collier unable to catch an entry pass from Natisha Hedeman and resulting in a Lynx turnover instead of a foul on Phoebus. Collier attempted 18 field goals in the paint and didn't attempt a single free throw. She had never before taken more than 11 field goals altogether without getting to the foul line.
Well, first of all, Nafisa Collier, the number of times that she's held, et cetera, and there's nothing down that end, right? Which it's kind of, for whatever reason in the series, that was kind of the way it was.
During regulation, before Minnesota had to foul to extend the game in the extra session, the foul disparity was 19-12 against the road team. It's not hard to believe the conspiracy theorists who are saying that the officials wanted the Liberty to win the game and ultimately win the championship.
But the 3 people that are on the game need a third party to let them know, because that decided the game. That decided the game. And I know all the headlines will be Reeve cries foul. Bring it on, right? Bring it on, because this shit was stolen from us.
Wow. Okay, those are fighting words. However, Reeve isn't wrong here. She has every right to be frustrated by what went down. The WNBA has a long-standing problem with quality officiating. 8 years earlier, Minnesota lost another title in 2016 when the Sparks weren't whistled for a shot clock violation at the end of Game 5, and Ogwumike managed to get off a game-winning basket in a 1-point game.
Well, we talked about it, we know we could have done some things, right? But you shouldn't have to overcome to that extent, This shit ain't that hard. Officiating it's not that hard. When someone is being held, be consistent. If you don't want to hold it one end, then don't call it the other. Be consistent. Every team asks for that, right?
3 games in this series ended with coaches complaining about the one-sided nature of the referee during their post-game comments. After Game 3, when Stewart took 10 free throws compared to 12 total for the Lynx, Reeves said, "The game is called differently for Fee than it is for Stewie, for sure. You look at the same level of activity and around the rim contact. For whatever reason, we have a hard time getting to the foul line in the series." To make matters worse, before the finals, League Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said the WNBA would undergo its usual audit of referees, while still suggesting that the public focus on calls was a sign of passion rather than an indication that immediate improvement was necessary. Now, the fact that the league's longest tenured coach would publicly rip the officials not once but multiple times on its biggest stage is a red flag. Reeve isn't the only one who was disgusted by the officials. Several NBA superstars took to social media to express their feelings as well. Damian Lillard said, "Refs called this game like they knew the assignment in the second half, boy. Great game." Basically, it's insinuating that the refs were told to make sure that the Liberty win the championship. Now, that is pretty serious. Then there was LeBron James, who said, "I'm sorry, but that wasn't a foul. Let the damn players dictate the outcome of a close, battle-tested game." On one hand, all of this attention shows that the WNBA is becoming more popular, but this might not be the right type of publicity. The last thing new fans want to believe is that the games are rigged or that the product is incompetent. However, not everyone is blaming the refs. You can always bet on Stephen A. Smith having a unique take on the situation. Although he agrees that the Stewart foul call was wrong, he still doesn't believe that the Lynx were cheated out of a championship. Sounds like Stephen A. is saying that Reeve is crying wolf once again. And he does have a point. You can't blame the refs every time you lose a game. However, this one is different. It is clear that the Lynx should have been champions, especially after the way Liberty superstar Sabrina Ionescu played. Lynx essentially did everything correctly but still ended up coming up short. But when it comes to a series, there are several instances where a team could have come out on top and changed the course of the series. And that is the point that Stephen A. was trying to make. But no matter where you stand, it's hard not to see Coach Reeves' point. When the officials miss something so blatant, it doesn't matter how well you played. There is nothing you can do about it. The last thing a team wants is to have their season be determined by the officials, but that's exactly what happened to the Lynx. This is why Reeve was extremely frustrated afterward.
This sucks. This is for a championship, right? For both teams, let them decide it. What contact is legal should be the same for both teams. This isn't that hard. And so it's disappointing. Congratulations to the Liberty on their first championship.
And that's another part that is being overshadowed by the bad officiating. The Liberty made history. They had an epic run in which they beat the likes of Asia Wilson, whose Las Vegas Aces were attempting to make history by three-peating. And then they beat the Lynx, who have historically been one of the greatest franchises in the WNBA. Perhaps now it is the Liberty's turn to go on an epic run and establish themselves as the team to beat for years to come. But even that is watered down by the way this series ended, because it's hard to see the Liberty as the true champions. It's almost as if they needed to win another title next year to truly validate what they have accomplished this year.